from the train, and because in Ontario we have they're called GO trains, and they're um, it's typically how people go in and out of the Greater Toronto area if you don't drive. And anyway, when I had to go pick her up, I didn't realize it, but the only car we had at the house was my mother's, and she drove manual, and I'd never driven stick before, ever. So I fucking Googled it, and I learned how to drive stick in like an hour and a half, so I could go pick up my fucking sister from the train. So school didn't work for me because I guess I just was too. I liked teaching myself, and by the time I realized I liked teaching myself, school was over. So turn down the music. It might just be me talking really low. I can turn it down though if it's loud. The thing is, I just get really quiet when I'm slowly winding down here. I'll turn it down a little bit though. Also, what is your outlook for this channel, and what do you predict for the future? Uh, Eventually, I'll probably close it. That might scare you guys, but I will only do YouTube as long as it makes sense. I will probably always do projects that are all about entertaining people and being entertaining. But there's a lot of things I don't really like about YouTube, and they will never change. Um, I don't really like how YouTube is monopolies on channels. When I was first starting making videos online, there was no such thing like that because like the website you would compare it to was Newgrounds. And Newgrounds was obviously a very different website, much smaller in scale. But YouTube's all about promoting the biggest channels, and like even a channel of my size that some of you guys would consider big, um, it can benefit from that, but it can also just never benefit from that. And I always find that I have really good retention. I find that like a lot of you guys, like you find me entertaining and you hang around for a long time. And so it's always bizarre because if I have such good retention, especially when I talk to other people and compare numbers and just see how many dead subs and stuff they have and compare them, it's just like I'm nowhere near like that. Um, it's really weird because it just means that I must not be reaching people if my retention's really high. So I didn't like that because in Newgrounds there was never that problem. Newgrounds always just had it like you only had to be popular for a day, and that was enough attention because they had a front page where YouTube doesn't really have that. So when you want to try to be discovered on YouTube, you don't actually go through YouTube. You go through other websites. So it's like if you get lucky and your post gets upvoted on Reddit randomly, but again, Reddit doesn't want you to submit your own content. It's really weird. But I don't know. I'll do making videos as long as it makes sense. If it ever gets to the point where it doesn't make sense to do them, I probably won't do them. Um, I'll probably still always do entertaining things. Like this is like I don't have any of the skills. I'm an internet guy. I make videos. I work on games, but I'll probably always work for myself. Um, but we'll see. Like maybe 5 years from now, we won't even use YouTube. That sounds crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if it changed like that. If the internet just completely changed. Like a couple of years ago, you just it was all about websites, right? You didn't you would want to make your own website and build your fandom through websites. But nowadays, it doesn't make sense to really have your own forums. It's better just to have a subreddit. It's better just to talk to people on Twitter. It's better just to live stream on Christmas if you want to engage your fans than having them just a public forum on a website. So, oh, you're gonna be asleep by now. Hello, Willie. It is 3:45 a.m. here in Australia, so sorry if there's some grammar mistakes. This was 5 hours ago. She's definitely asleep. Merry Christmas. Have you bought Dragon Age Inquisition yet? I bought it. It's quite fun. I just wish the multiplayer was better. If you haven't bought it, I definitely recommend it. Have a Merry Christmas. Um, No, I haven't. I've never played any of the Dragon Age games. Um, I'm not sure why. I just they've just I've never touched them. I don't really know why. They're probably completely up my alley. I guess it's just been one of those things I haven't touched. I typically don't play a lot of single player games though. Um, I'm not sure why that is either. I guess I'm a very progression based gamer is what I would call myself. Where this argument isn't going to work for Dragon Age because it's a progression based game. Where I always play games where there's some sort of like another carrot on the stick. And that sounds kind of dumb, but I've just noticed that that's the type of person I am. But there are some games I should probably check out sometime because I bet you I would like them. It was the same way with me in Morrowind. Like for years, I was like, I should really play Morrowind. I should really play Morrowind. And the first time I played Oblivion, I played it for Xbox of all things. That's when I had my first Oblivion experience, and I was just like, oh god, this game is so good. Why did I get this for Xbox? I already want to be on PC. Then I could actually be something other than a melee class and be effective. Dear Willy, Merry Christmas. I really have to tell you I'm impressed that you're streaming all day. It's great that you're concerned with making everybody's holidays a little bit brighter when they're alone. Now, I have a question for you. I know it's a bit of a sensitive topic, and I understand if you don't want to talk about it. Why did you have a falling out with the Minecrackers? You got along with Etho, Pyro, Milby, and the others, and the content you created was leaving me laughing a lot of video. I respect your decision, but um, I don't. I like. Please keep in mind that I really don't dislike any of the Minecrackers. I don't hate any of them or anything like that. A lot of them are still good friends of mine. Um, Minecraft isn't a really. I mean, it's a very big group. There's like 30 of them, and they're not necessarily all tight knit and friends. Um, some of them are just like they have working relationships together. Some of them are actually friends. But I mean, with that many people, with 30 people, man, like that's like a World of Warcraft raiding guild, dude. In my World of Warcraft raiding guild, I had people I liked, I had friends, and then I had people I just fucking hated. And I would play video games with them every single day, 6 days a week. But there's people that I was just that. But back then, I was just like, if you got hit by a bus, I would be okay with that. But no, I guess when the Play Minecraft thing fell through, it was just kind of one of those. I kind of realized that Minecraft wasn't really a group I necessarily wanted to associate myself with, because I kind of had a problem with the issue of a group that presents itself as friends, but aren't all entirely friends. Um, and I don't think this isn't intentional that they do that. Like that's one thing to note. I'm really not trying to hate or upset anyone. Um, it's not necessarily they intended to do that. It's just you got to remember that the group was basically just a server. It was just a server you could play on, and everybody came in. And now that group is evolving. And when you're starting to evolve, there are growing pains. And so my thing was when everything was said and done with Play Minecraft, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to keep doing things in a group that I probably should just be a little different from at that point. But like obviously I still do things with the group. I'm still really good friends with Paws. Like I haven't really talked to Milby, but I don't like. There's nothing against him or even Etho. I've only really done stuff like some DBZ stuff with Etho. I can't even think of anything else me and Etho have done together since like DBZ last year. It's mostly just we're all really busy guys and we're all different guys. And we all work on things, and sometimes you just don't really like. We don't reach out to each other to do things. Sometimes we're all working on our own little projects. So. No, I sincerely don't. I wish no ill will on them. Um, the community likes to unravel things and make big deals out of them, but most of the time, it's not that anyone is an asshole or anyone is a dick or anyone is a jerk to each other. It's just a lack of communication and people just doing their own thing, and then people making big deals out of silence. But I hope I answered that question. It's hard, man. It's hard because like people ask like why don't you do this series anymore or that series anymore, and it's the same. Like sometimes you just don't do video content with certain people anymore. Maybe they don't make sense to do it with your channel. Maybe you're two different sizes. Maybe you're just both working on stuff. Like I haven't asked Etho to do any projects with me, and he hasn't asked me, and I don't. It's nothing vicious or anything like that. And it's the same with any of those guys. Just all working on our own little things. Dear Rob, thanks for all the content. You and the rest of the Buffalo Wizards never failed to entertain. My question: what's your favorite Christmas movie? Frosty Snowman. It's a shitty, shitty movie, by the way. Frosty Snowman is by far the worst Christmas movie. However, I've discovered it is by far the greatest drinking game movie of all time. It's perfectly set. I believe they say so. The drinking game you play with Frosty Snowman is you take a drink, a sip of your drink, every time they say the word snow. Within the first 5 minutes of Frosty the Snowman, they say snow about 30 or 40 times. And then it gets a little bit slower and a little bit slower and a little bit slower. But it's amazing because right off the bat, just everybody's like, "Oh God, Frosty the Snowman, snow, 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 fuck you, drink snow." And we did that for a live stream. I think it was last year, or the year before that, and it was really really funny. But that's probably now my favorite movie because anytime we do a holiday drinking game, it's that movie. Hey Rob, wrote earlier, but I couldn't think of anything, and now I want to ask: is there going to be any more Harry Potter with Dead Bones? I love the stupidity of it, and sit back, relax, enjoy. I had all the art assets done for the first book of Harry Potter. Me and Dead Bones will finish that book. I don't really want to leave that undone. It kind of, I don't remember why we got distracted from it, but I think it might have been Lords. I think Lords started to get in the way. I think in January, me and Deadbones might sit down. If not, it'll just be postponed. But eventually, me and Deadbones will sit down, we'll record it, and then once we start recording it again, we'll just finish the book. Um, that was just one of those things. Like it's like one of those series that it just didn't do well on YouTube. And the thing is, like if it doesn't do well, there's really no point in continuing it. Like sometimes Pause gets a lot of hate because he doesn't finish series, and I know like that can drive people nuts when you don't finish series. But like I agree with him that like if people don't find something entertaining, it is not worth finishing. Especially because it just takes up content. Like right now, I have my Pokemon streams on my channel. I really shouldn't have put those up. They're not worth it. Um, like they get a third of the views, and even if you want to be like, oh, that's because so many people watch it live stream, and it's like, no, they don't. I get like 3,000 people live streaming it. It's very clear that my core audience does not necessarily enjoy Pokemon. So, and the other problem, it's one of those like, it's episode 72. It's like, well, how are you gonna get absorbed in this 72 episode series? Some people do, and that's great, but it's not like you'll notice like on my Lord stuff, I don't name them. A tuna ban or number them. Or tuna bandits, I don't number them. And the reason why is most of the time you can just jump in the middle of an episode and it's fine. It might be awkward if you jump in the middle of a co-op, but most of those Lord episodes you can just put it on and stuff's gonna happen. And you might be kind of confused, like what's actually going on here? But it's probably going to be entertaining. I know because I've shown it to people that know nothing about video games, and then it gets laughs out of them. So. From James, when and why did you decide to start making content on the internet for YouTube? YouTube was just an evolution point for me. You'd have to go a lot further back. when I made my YouTube channel, like sometimes people like look at my YouTube channel and they try to calculate its growth, but the thing is like even back then trying to say like you if you look at my YouTube channel, you want to be like, God, how did he get so big so fast compared to all these other Minecraft YouTubers? It's because I was already doing videos online. When I was in my first year of university, I was taking programming, and it was a waste of my time. Like I was learning nothing in the classes. I wasn't bothering to show up to half of them. I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't enjoy the teachers. I didn't enjoy the language. I didn't enjoy anything in it. I got a contract to do my Unforgotten Realms cartoon for Escapist magazine. And back then, they were paying me $750 an episode, and that was crazy to me. I was like, "Whoa, really?" Because I knew I could probably do an episode, every week or two, and I was like, "Dude, that's crazy money for just like at the time that was absolutely crazy." So I took that job, and eventually I actually got it. So I was making more than that. I was getting 1,500 episode and doing an episode a week. And honestly, if Escapist magazine didn't fucking suck and actually could just pay me, I probably still would have done it. Now, whether they were overcharging me or something, I'm not sure. I don't know how like their revenue streams were going, but like that was fantastic at the time, and I loved it. And I built up a following that I already kind of had a following from things like Jimmy the World of Warcraft story, things like Splash Attack, the original Unforgotten Realms, but it really started to go there. But the thing is, that took everything out of me. Like doing an episode every week, that was it. That was all I could do. I couldn't do anything else. And when I left Escapist, I I tried doing like the DVD game, like, oh, I'll just try and pre-order and sell a season of DVDs. Like this was before Kickstarter stuff existed. This was probably like 2009, 2010. And I tried to do like pre-orders for DVDs, and a lot of the fans supported me, but I only made like 30% of what I would like to make in a season, and even 30% was like, this is all before taxes and stuff like that. Like I was never a wealthy person, so, but even back then it was just like not enough. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll try to do some URUMS videos, and then I'll also try to just do some other videos, because if I put up more videos, I'll be able to cover my bases. Trying to do merchandise was a nightmare. I will never, ever, ever do merchandise myself again. It will never happen. That's why things like that Team Pikachu shirt, I'm not getting it printed. Man, I still have boxes of my Roman shirt that I try to give away for different things. But merchandise was just terrible, because when you're doing merchandise and you're doing it out of your apartment, you're basically not making content. You're just putting things in envelopes and sending them. People always ask me, like, oh, where about Unforgotten Realms DVDs? It's like, well, there's no great way to sell them. It's better just to give them away for free on the web, or digital downloads and stuff. But I used to, so back then though, like on YouTube, you couldn't make money. Like, I still have not passed my first real YouTube video, which was the Jimmy the World of Warcraft story. That thing's sitting at like 8 million views. And that thing's crazy. Like, it actually still makes me like $25 to $50 a month. Just off that one video. Just every month. Just like any of those, the YouTubers that do like those music videos that will just forever just keep building up millions of views because people will get nostalgic about it and go back and watch. They'll always do well. Like my Moody Booties, even if they don't do necessarily well right now, there will be people who just go back and they watch it once a month. And they'll go listen to the music and stuff, and that's where like those residual views keep coming from. But yeah, so what happened is, like, I was working for Blip, or I was basically, now I'm on my own trying to do Blip TV and merchandise and all this stuff all at once, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And this is like, so I'm Let's Playing before Let's Playing is on like YouTube and people are making livings on it. I'm doing it on Blip TV. I remember I actually talked to like a lot of people on Newgrounds about it. I remember even like telling Eagle Raptor of the Game Grumps. I had a conversation with him about Blip TV versus YouTube, and he was because he was interested in how much you can make off Blip TV, and I shared some numbers with him. Because back then there was no point in putting anything on YouTube because you couldn't get attention. Now, in hindsight, it would obviously have been better to build a channel up, but I mean, there's a lot of things in hindsight I would have loved to have done differently. So these days, I try to stay on top of whatever social media platform. That's why, like this year, I completely just went towards Reddit. I was just like, all right, we need to just everything I do. We're not doing special forums or anything. Just do a Reddit on it because that is what people use right now to communicate um, through communities. They don't like there are forums like I know there's like Rooster Teeth forums and stuff that are still popular and stuff, but trying to start one and trying to keep up things like the old UROMs forums did not make sense. So what happened is like I was working for Blip TV and I'm making these videos and I realized that okay, if I put out an episode of Unforgotten Realms, it's gonna get 50,000 views. Cool. Or me and Roman can go play video games for 10 hours, okay? And each video will only get 10,000 views, but it will make 20 of them. And it became like, well, this one takes me an entire week of doing nothing but working on it, and this one takes me an evening with Roman, and obviously is going to make me 3 or 4 times the amount of money just because of the sheer amount of content you can produce. So it's a balance though because you have to do you can't just do Let's Plays. Like you can't just like I see all these small time YouTubers and they dump hours and hours into just here's me playing this game part 72 and that shit doesn't work because you need to have some like you can coast on them. Like once you have a following, if people just like you for you, by all means you can coast. Like I could go play any game, right? I could record myself playing Hearthstone, just playing it, and I could put it up, and it would probably get 5 to 10k views. But in order to actually grow and get new fans, you have to work on big projects. You have to do things that can get you noticed on the internet. And so I still try to do things like Played It for the Plot I did last week, and Moody Boodoos, and doing things like Lords and trying to expand the community. And I will do new stuff next year. I'd like to get back into doing animations. I recently talked to the guy who did the cartoons for DBZ, not the cartoons like the comics. When I did Tales of Bruce Willikers, he's gonna make me a batch. I'm gonna put some of those later this year. I still have this DBZ movie that's like done. It's not done, but it requires me just to do all the editing components of this cool comic book that tells the story of Verandra. So it's a weird balance because basically you do some content and that content is what you make your living off of, and then you do some content and that content is what makes you grow, I guess. So like if you ever decided like I want to be a YouTuber, you probably should not do Let's Plays. You should probably just do projects that can get noticed. What is that, Rob? Well, that's the question. that's the thing every YouTuber is trying to do, is do things that are new and entertaining and fresh and cool and people like. So. Seth Hart asks, hey Rob, I just wanted to say I enjoyed your content. You're one of the YouTubers. My question is, what would you like for Jesus-mas and how are you today? Dude, I'm one of those people that sucks for shopping for. There's something I really want or need. I drive like a really crappy car my grandmother gave me because I don't really want to buy another car. I don't like driving anyway. I'll buy it once this car dies. Once it is no longer economical to keep, then I will buy something. And I won't buy it new. I will buy it used. It will not go fast. I don't think I'll ever live in a house. By all means, I could change my opinion in a couple of years, but I really like apartments. I really like renting. I don't know. I'm a hermit in those ways. Will the Lord's DBZ standalones still be squares, basically Minecraft without limitations? Merry Nismas, happy birthday, Co. I should have never mentioned them. It's because I do things like my Patreon chat where I talk about these projects, and then I forget what I've talked to the public, what I haven't talked to the public. Here's what we know about me and Disfin doing a DVZ or Lord Standalone. We are thinking of doing it. The end. It's not on our agenda of things that are important. The reason why, I kind of talked about this earlier today, is DVZ and Lords are both very, very niche games. And if me and Nisvin want to actually make games for a living, we can't start by making niche games. It's perfectly fine if we decide to do that later down the road, but I would rather do that later down the road when we have money we can spend on doing those type of projects that we know we could get return on our investment. But dumping a ton of money and time into those right now doesn't make any sense. So, like, Lords isn't even really a game. I don't even think it would really be a game. It's just kind of a community thing, right? It's just a really cool place to hang out and talk to people, which is neat in itself. But we wouldn't want to charge for it. So, we were gonna make a game that's designed to sell hats. That's that, and the other thing is, like, both of those games I would want to be free to play, and I think free to play is really the future for a lot of games, especially multiplayer games. But it's very clear that the internet of old people, basically everyone my age and older, doesn't get that. Everyone my age and older is like, fucking free to play games. Back in my day, you spent $60. And you got your game and it was done. Yeah, that's true, but there's no such thing as servers for your games, and if they did, they cost $15 a month. And even the games that cost $15 a month did not get necessarily content consistently. These days, in order for a free-to-play game to work, not only do you have to have the game be free, you have to consistently be adding content to the game. Or else it will just fall off the radar in 3 months. And the biggest reason for that is when I was in high school, a new video game came out once a week. Today, 10 new video games come out every day. The market is much bigger. There's more competition. Like, a lot of people, there's a huge group of people that the only way they play video games, if it's on Steam sale. If it ain't on a Steam sale, I ain't buying it. A lot of people don't even buy games new. They will just buy games when they go on sale. They just wait. So, that I really respect companies like Blizzard. They're not perfect. They obviously make some mistakes, but they do a lot of smart things that I really respect. Like, I thought that the auction house in Diablo 3 was genius. I still think it is. I understand why it doesn't work and why they removed it, but like, at the time, man, the internet was just eating them alive, and it's like, I can understand, because basically the auction house already existed. It was just called the black market. You could get any item you wanted in Diablo 2 off the forums. All they've done is made it so, instead of trading with shady, people in an Asian country who are selling money for US dollars because it's profitable for them, you're just doing it in the game client. And people got, like, all pissed off, like, oh my god, it's so pay to win.